Good. Yeah. You still got 90 seconds. You can keep chattering amongst yourselves.
Exactly 90 seconds. Now we're ready. Now we're ready.
That's not what I can do. All right, Lynn, what did I do? I need to.
I thought, wow,
yeah, but when I go into it, it messes up. What's that? Yeah. Oh, I think this is it. Let's go. All right. All right. Let's get this show started. Does anyone have one of those? Jeff, you just look like someone who would. 1, 2, 3. Happy April, everybody! Welcome. Come on in, Ashley. We got a few more seats. We might need to bring some stools in the back. Tell me something good. I'd love to hear 2 or 3 or 4 wins. Make some gratitude as we work through that wind. Who's got something? I'd say wins and gratitude for both a fantastic awards night in the last few weeks, which Amanda put on, and then a great Easter egg hunt this past weekend that so many of you contributed to as well. Some fantastic events. What else? Ms. Sigler.
I don't think that thing's in the room, but I wanted to completely thank the Dutton team for saving my hind end. Are they out there?
I think Jack's floating around.
Friends that they hooked up and they got married, but never get divorced. They were selling their home and they had bought, you know, just everything to make this 3-story, 5-bedroom home. And they sold the contents. We were in and out. It was streamlined. It was beautiful. Everyone was happy. Never worked with them before. I highly recommend.
Win-win-win. That's awesome. Love that. Love that. Our need to be creative for our clients is higher than it's been in a long time. So that can be a good option. 1 or 2 more. Scott.
Say Cassandra, she has been
Speech.
downstairs. She's communicated as it's been changing and stuff. That's been especially great. Everything's going great for getting paid. So I know we all appreciate that. So they can
Strongly agree. 1 more.
Casey Jones. Anytime I ask her a question, she's very helpful and she's been very kind to me lately. So thank you.
Kind lately, since the not yet. Awesome. This thing is being weird. So I'm just going to do this. All right, Amanda, you want to come up and tell us who our fresh faces are? I got to move this around.
So we welcomed 7 people today, last month. Michael Spetlick, who's joining his lovely wife Tara, and she's in here. Megan Allball, Kurt Frenzel, Teresa Blizzard, who's in our Mansfield office, Clifton Gidcom, Megan Eckstein, and Jessica Mendoza. Sienna is new as of April, and she's jumped right in. So
That's right. That's right. Welcome. Are there any other Megan's here? Welcome, Megan. Any other fresher faces? Yeah, I think we're pretty good.
thanks, Mark.
Yeah. Awesome.
So welcome everybody.
Glad you all are here. Oh, this is just not wanting to behave. Cassandra. Hey.
All right. So for March, we profit shared $17,640.65, which puts us at $50,035.29 for the year to date. Congratulations to our March cappers, which are Lori Sosted and oh, this is a long list. Great thing. So our top producers are Tina Bagnoli, Shannon Bragg, Cindy Carpenter, Brendan Fleming, Amanda Garcia, Michaela Drake, Amy Guthrie, Tom Heidi, Rachel Hogue, Sam Holmes, Samantha Hopper, Nikki Horvath, Michael Humphreys, Ryan Jones, Tracy Jones, Scott and Lynette Tilley, Alyssa Kingzette, Annabelle Lakota, Kevin McCauley, Jose Medina, Jen Mucci, Brianna Oliver, Jonathan Riley, Christina Roberto. Sorry, I said that wrong.
You got it. You're good. You're crushing it.
Austin Samsel, Melissa Sanford, Sadie Schofield, Caitlin Shepard, Daniel Schisler, Lori Shosted again, Melissa Strauss, Rachel Sudakaran, Chris Treese, Holly Van Riper, Jackie Wakeham, Stephanie Webb, and Jamie Wool.
There we go. That's a big long list. Well done. You're crushing it in all categories right now. Yeah, how are you guys? I'd love to hear from a couple of you. When someone says, how's the market? How are you responding right now? If you were asked that question today, how would you respond? Huh?
Blame it hot.
Blame it hot.
I say picking up.
Yes, but you said good. Anyone want to disagree or counteract that? Complicated. Say a little bit more than that.
I think if you say hot, it just nobody really knows what that means.
Yeah.
So when I say complicated, it makes them ask a little bit more and much more than that group.
That's true. The goal is to look smart. Yeah. Yeah. Christian?
In an article yesterday, it said that mortgage application rates are down by like 30-ish% compared to this time last year. Now, rates have went down month over month or week over week for the past 4 weeks. However, if you compare this month from last month, there's still a 3% decrease in application rates.
Right.
So even though rates are going down, doesn't mean more people are applying for those.
Correct. It feels hot because sales prices are staying strong, multiple offers are still happening, but it's complicated because the transaction volume is still lower. Like this year's market is behind where last year's market was, and that's factually true. And I think if all we say is that it's flaming hot, that can paint an inaccurate picture for the total market.
I don't know if buyers can hear that either.
No. Yeah, good point. Rich, you got a whole hassle of things to cover.
Morning. Try and make it as quick as I can for time. I don't know. I did this list last week, so I don't know that I remember everything.
Let's quiz them. All right.
Purchase agreement addendums, I guess what I would say is we're finding a lot of agents wanting to practice lawyer and they are writing things that they shouldn't be writing. So I would say to you again, unfortunately, don't write things that you probably shouldn't be writing. If there's not an addendum for it, ask. We might have something, believe it or not. If we don't, we can check into it or at least get you in the right direction. Most things, if you're going through it, another agent probably has to, and we might have a resource for you. So I would say just try not to write legal addendums. The new statewide purchase agreement, I think it's the 25th now. We have 25th at 3 o'clock. We're going to have it on Zoom. It's just an overview. It's a 30 to 40 minute overview. We are not changing to that contract yet. I say yet because we might in the future. I don't know that to be true, but it's very possible that that could happen. It's about 10 or 12 pages, so it's quite long. I highly encourage you to attend that Zoom. I will not be teaching it. The two Ohio Realtor attorneys will actually be teaching that class. And Stonegate is offering a happy hour afterwards. So come on in if you can.
Is it Zoom and here?
It is Zoom and here. So anybody that wants to attend can come in, and you can invite co-brokes to come in. We want to invite anybody and everybody. And again, you know, afterwards we'll have that time to mingle. So if you can't attend, get on Zoom at least. So updated escrow letter. We did update the escrow letter, and I would encourage you that as you're reviewing that, you'll notice that there are two spots. One is a submitted date that we updated. That's just important because a lot of people choose to wait and do their escrow agreement like at the end of the transaction, and title companies are asking you for it. If you get that in sooner and you have to make a change to it, that submitted date will update them so that they know, you know, the newest one that you're actually having. The other thing on there is, what I would say is I encourage you to use the referral part on there and have any referrals paid by the title company rather than being paid by Cassandra or our office. You can do it either way, but it makes it really easy when you fill that out and it's automatically sent. We don't have to worry about tracking anything. It doesn't get forgotten.
So that's OpCity, that's other agents, obviously, other examples that you would use.
Yeah, just any outside referral.
Anyone that needs to get paid, Stonegate or title can pay.
Yeah, it's a really nice option. Fair housing violations. So as you're writing those descriptions, please remember that you can't use the 7 protected classes and 9 in Ohio to talk about. I'm seeing a lot of people talking about familial status. You can't say kids, no kids. If it's a 55 and older community, you can say it's 55 and older, but please watch, you know, when you're saying small house, that's fine. But when you're saying great for a small family, that's probably, it's on the line. It's gray. It's probably not illegal, but it's gray. So just be very careful when you're saying those statements for fair housing. Advertising and the prominence rule. Again, we're all entrepreneurs, so we're doing the best that we can to get ourselves out there and advertise, but please make sure as you're doing new Facebook pages, posts, if you're doing any kind of advertising, Legacy Group Realty is the name of our brokerage, and that has to be equal to or more prominent than your name. There are a ton of violations out there. In fact, I can think of one that's not with our company, but if you drive up north and you're going up Route 8, there is a huge EXP agent that has their name is nowhere on there. They're just asking for trouble. And I can tell you as the broker, I get plenty of calls from nice agents complaining about you. And thankfully they're calling me and not the division, but I'll tell you what, it's kind of crazy. The amount of people that are actually getting turned in. I know Melissa Sanford can speak to this, not personally, but in their area, I swear to you, if you do one thing wrong,
note
it like in a second. And I'm either getting a call or they're getting a call or the division's getting a call. So please make sure that you're watching that rule. Wholesaling in our E&O insurance. So if you are helping a client with wholesaling, please let me know and contact me first, because we contacted E&O insurance and they're basically saying that you are not covered In that, if you are writing it as yourself, as an agent, like if you're buying and wholesaling, you're not covered, especially if you're using your LLC, and potentially a client is not going to be covered. So if you're working with a client, a consumer, your E&O will not extend to that particular case. What they're asking for is they want very specific contracts and things like that, which they would want to review at the carrier level before they would approve it. We don't have anything like that. I'm not going to say that we're not going to work on it. We will try and work on that because I know it's going to be something that you're probably already doing. But please be very careful with the wholesaling. We're not saying you can't do it. You just need to know what you're doing when you're helping those consumers.
Rich taught a fantastic class on wholesaling a week or two ago. It is recorded. If you're curious about wholesaling or you're engaging with it and missed the class, please look up that recording. We can get it to you because lots of really helpful info in there.
And unlicensed referral fees, I've seen a couple agents do this in the last few weeks. One of them did get turned into the division. It wasn't ours that happened to, thankfully, but you cannot pay somebody for referrals unless they are licensed. So I cannot pay Scott Killey $250 for him referring me a client if they buy or sell with me. Okay, it's illegal. You can only have a referral paid to a licensed brokerage. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't have inducements. So I'll give you an example. If you wanted to say, I will pay up to $500 for a home warranty, that's fine. Put parameters around it, put dates around it. When you would offer that, it needs to go on the purchase agreement or your listing agreement, whoever you're having the inducement with. So there are ways to do it, but you cannot pay referral fees, gifts, or any other fees, anything of value to a consumer that's unlicensed for referring you a client.
If you've got an idea that you want to float, talk with Rich. He can help guide you. There's a right way and a wrong way.
I hate it, but I'm really good at it. So, any questions? Okay, last thing, I will cover this not on here real quick, is I'm getting a lot of calls about the NAR lawsuit that you're probably seeing. We've been talking a little bit about that here and there in this. One of the things we did prevail with the Department of Justice. We were entered into an agreement where we had to publicly advertise what the commission is that we're offering to co-brokes. You can't say your services are free. We've covered all that, thankfully, even though the Department of Justice reneged on that agreement. We sued them, we won. That was great. But right now, what you're hearing about is the lawsuits. There are about 2 or 4 of them going on, where consumers have said that they've been overcharged by a listing broker commission because we're offering that commission to a co-broke that they overpaid. If a buyer's agent wants paid, they should get it from the buyer. That's what the lawsuit's about right now. Nothing has changed as of yet. But as I keep saying, the way that we sell real estate in the future, it very well could change where your buyer is no longer, as an agent, you are no longer paid by the seller's brokerage. You are going to be paid by the buyer, and we don't know how that's going to look. So they have approved it as a class action lawsuit against NAR. So this is going to be probably years in the making and lots of money. The best thing that you can do to protect yourself is use a buyer's agency agreement. I know we're all terrible at doing that lately. My 20 years of doing it, I don't know that I've done it, but a handful of times they are telling us that if you want to keep your license and you want to be doing business professionally, you should start using that buyer's agency. Let your buyer know what they're charged, your services are not free, and what you expect and what they can expect for your services. So that's what we're hearing out there. And invest in RPAC. See Eric Henry afterwards. He's got some great ways for you to invest, but that will help.
So your RPAC investment would make a difference.
It does make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Especially with NAR's legal bills that are coming. So that's all of us. All right, thanks, guys.
That's why we can't have nice things.
Right.
Thanks, Rich. Kayla, come on down. Looking very spring and
I think Christian nicely called me an Easter egg.
I saw some people messaging about like, oh, it's white pants season. I was like, there needs to be a caveat. I'm not going there, but
I did not go with the white.
I mean, feel free.
Well, hello everyone. A couple of weeks ago, we did a presentation called Mortgage Taxes. Very beautiful, full of tons of tools. One of the first slides on there defined a partnership versus a passengership. And if you have a referral partner, if you have a lender, they need to be your partner in the business. And that's what we're here to do every day in the office. So we have a new program. It's well new to us. It's called List Reports. Some of you had heard about it in the last meeting. But we are up and running, and I have a few clients that had a package come through while I was sitting back there. It's an automated marketing tool for you guys. It's free to you. If you want to sign up for it, please come see me. Lynn will be doing a training on that on the 27th, right? It's going to make your life so much easier. There's no more manual drag, click, whatever. You post a listing to the MLS, and within 15 minutes, you're going to get a complete marketing package for that listing, shareables. You'll have a text to lead code for you specifically to capture that data into a spreadsheet and also import into Command. So if that's something you're interested in, I know I've talked to a few of you, people are already using it. It's amazing. Come see me for that. Also, I have boiled down mortgage hacks a little bit because I've talked to a couple of smaller group team meetings. If you're interested in staying down with that, we can have another little powwow session around those tools for mortgage hacks. Also on the 20th is my next training. So that will be non-qualified mortgage products. We are now powered through Mutual of Omaha, which is amazing because we have full access to all of their products. Some of those being non-QM products, which are great for investors, self-employed, 1099, also anybody who just might need an outside the box solution. Come see me, but also the 20th, put that on your calendar. We'll be going through all those products in detail. So if you have time for that, I'd be happy to sit through those products for you in detail, and definitely show you how those benefits can help your clients and get you hopefully a few more captured leads. But yeah, that's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you. We're cruising. I put the fear of the Lord in everyone today. Like, hey, we got to move. We got a lot of ground to cover. So we might finish ahead of time. Who knows? Lynn, no pressure.
So I've got some QR codes for you. This one goes to what we just got 2 weeks ago. It's a video on how to upload your contacts from your phone if you want to put in Command. It's the easiest, fastest way. It takes about 30 seconds.
So fast.
It's the best thing they've done so far. The other one is a QR code to my graphics library. So I have every month in this folder, there's about 40 graphics branded to the Legacy. You can take what you want out of them, download them, use them. They're open. So if you don't have a version of Canva, you just use a free version, you can use it. If you have a editable one, you can have full access because there's about 3-4 links. I kind of customize them and then I got tired. Because I have like 4,000 graphics to do. So I got about 1,000 of them in there for you. I got a lot of graphics.
I would stop at like 7. So
excessive compulsive. So that's in there for you. So there's no real excuse saying, hey, Lynn, I don't know how to do graphics. If you don't want to make them, don't. They're in there. Just grab them, use them, do what you want with them. I have another page.
If you capture both of these QR codes at the same time, it takes them to a secret folder that Lynn's created. I'll talk about that at a future meeting.
Okay.
Oh, it's about to get real.
You guys are ready to go. I almost daily get told, I didn't know about this. Guys, if you've been here for the last 2 years, you know about this. New people, as you meet with me, you'll learn it because you don't go into anything else. If you have friends that haven't switched over yet, call them because they're on my list. If they turn into green sheet now, because they'll get a little friendly little letter from Cassandra. CCing yours truly in, so I know exactly who you are. And you're just turning into green sheet, so you can't avoid me at this point. I'm not joking with you. Their first rollout, they're starting to shrink apart. Is May. So it's coming. I didn't make this up, even though you guys keep thinking I am. It's real and it's coming, and you guys are going to be really mad when you log into the green sheets and they're missing, and you're like, well, I didn't know. You did. You just chose not to meet with me. So let's get on it before it actually happens and no one's upset.
Really is easy. You'll have to turn off your fax machine for a minute, Rich. But even Rich can do it. We're just going to keep the joke rolling for a while.
Ask everybody who's still doing it to raise their hands.
Well, I'll close our eyes, and if you still use them, just raise your hand. This is a safe space, not a safe space. No safety here. Derek, we have a new partner, and we'd love to come and hear all about it. Welcome, Derek Watkins with Junk Loaders. Yes.
Hello, Derek Watkins with the Junk Loaders. Eco-friendly furniture and junk removal. What what is furniture and junk removal? It's just about anything. If you're listing a house that's just full of stuff, furniture, knickknacks, anything like that, you give us a call. We go to the place, take a look at it, and we give the price up front. So everybody knows what the prices are, what the charges are. We've worked with multiple realtors in the past. So if there's nobody on site, if you need it done right now, we'll get it done right now. Once the price is given, the work is done right away. If you want an estimate and that estimate converts, and you still want the work done, we will do it right then. We're hustlers, we're movers. High speed junk removal is what we call it. Once the work is done, I mentioned we're eco-friendly. We will recycle items, we will donate items, and we do everything we can to keep items out of the landfill. It's that extra step to tell your partners, to tell your clients. So if you just have something that you just don't know what to do, or a house that's just full of stuff, and by the way, we want to sell tomorrow, just always remember the junk pluggers. When in doubt, plug it out.
Lug it out. Quick question, like, is there a how bad is too bad sort of situation? No?
We'll do anything from single item removal. Yeah.
Melissa posted some pictures.
To a whole house cleanup. Okay.
Erica?
What area do you cover?
We cover all of Stark, all of Summit.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Demo work?
It's not my preferred. I have someone else that I will have do that,
to.
but we will do it.
Okay.
We will do it. So.
Also remove file cabinets.
And file cabinets. Came in and did a sick day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. All right, Jose and Alyssa Kingzett, come on down, come on up. Whatever this direction is. Alyssa, how do you feel about getting the title of chump along with Jose? Yeah, I feel like with Jose, it's easy. It was low hanging fruit. Everyone knows Jose. Not everybody knows Alyssa. So Alyssa, give us the flyover. Who are you?
Who am I? Well, I am Alyssa Kingzett. I have been licensed since 2018. My business actually took off in 2021. So in 9 months, I sold 30. And then last year I did 41. So I am definitely just needed tools and systems. I'm a part of the Melissa Sanford team. I run the Elyria office in Lorain County. That's primarily where I sell, but occasionally I will come down to Wayne County and help supply things.
You may not have known that we had a presence in Lorain County in Elyria. It is out there, up and over there.
I drove an hour and 20 minutes to be here today.
Well, God bless you. So you can refer business to the west of Cleveland area, and we have people in that area. So why are we having this conversation today? I think we regularly hear scripting isn't for me. Or I don't like to run my business that way. I don't want to come across as salesy. And the conversation that we're going to have here is going to interact with that. As you guys think about handling objections, what's the framework? How do you think about it? Why is it important in a market like this?
So when I think about objection handling, I think about it as if I'm talking to Christian and he's the seller. I want to be able to come, like, if we're sitting across from the table, that's like kind of like an adversarial position. My goal with objection handling is to come around and be his advocate, be the person on his side. And I think when you think about objection handling, you need to think about it that way, and that you're like helping him and understanding him and agreeing with him and coming around, versus like there's a wall between and the objection is a problem. That's basically how I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think for me, in simple terms, I've never considered this career as a selling industry, even though we do. I've always been a huge advocate for educating, because half of the objections that we handle is because of our own faults. We don't educate our clients. Therefore, even if they get passed on to another agent because we didn't do our follow-up, they're still going to experience the same exact problem. So educate your clients. That's kind of the way to do it, honestly.
It's ultimately about preparedness, being able to engage with them where they're at. So what we're going to do, I've got a set of questions, but we might sprinkle some others in as well. Welcome, Danielle. Good to see you. Congrats. Both listing side. And initially this was just Jose, and then he was like, Mark, I don't work with buyers. I'm gonna embarrass myself. Let's bring someone in who's an ace at that. So Alyssa is our buyer specialist and Jose is our listing specialist. So we're just gonna ping back and forth a little bit. I'm just gonna hit you guys with a variety of them, and we'll see how they do. We can do like the old Chinese gong if they, they pass or not. All right, Jose, listing related. Sitting down, my Zestimate says $10,000 more than what you're saying. So can we listen at that higher note?
So like, that was a joke, but that's actually like, I could let silence do the heavy lifting. So a lot of times, like, I'll just let it sit there and it's awkward. And a lot of times they'll just pick up in the conversation and be like, well, I know that really doesn't mean anything, right? And so like, just let the silence do some of the heavy lifting, right? Yeah.
It's like the disappointed father approach.
So the question was, it's worth 10,000 more, or
right? Zillow said it's worth $10,000 more than the number you're saying. You said 250. Zillow said 261.5. Why can't we list it at that higher number?
Yeah. So this is going to cover general pricing and how I approach pricing in a listing appointment. So I'll just play it along with you. So when I talk about pricing with the seller, I never come in hard and say we need to list it at 250. So my conversation with the seller is I give them options. I believe we live in a world where people like options. And so Mark will just play this out. So we finished going through the comps, look at all the ones. My conversation with you is, so Mark, usually when we get to this point, the sellers that I'm working with, there's really one of two strategies that they kind of fall into. One is, hey, I want to sell my house. I want to make sure that it sells the first weekend, and I want to make sure we get multiple offers. And like, I don't want this process to drag out. For someone in that category, we'd be pricing the house at 250. I have a whole nother set of buyers that they want to price the house and make sure that they're getting the most amount possible. They want to stretch it and really test the market and see what's happening. Those sellers typically fall in maybe listing it around the 265 range. Mark, what do you think you want to be at? So it doesn't matter what you say.
Yeah.
So the point is, I'm not an agent that said your house is only worth 250, right? I'm giving you an option and you're deciding where you want to be at with pricing. That's it. And so like, I don't know, like at the end of the day, like they want to be in control of that. And my upper limit is going to be like, yeah, maybe you could get that, but who knows? And then if they go with the higher price, then we're talking about like, yeah, let's start it there. And then let's give it 2 weekends. And then we're going to talk about price again.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. What if the Zestimate was $40,000 more than what you're recommending? How would you nuance that?
Yeah. So one thing is I always look at the Zestimate before I enter the house. I want to know, they've already looked at it, right? Like we know that they've looked at it. So I want to know. And they never bring it up if it's lower than what we're talking about. Right. So typically I think if you do the comps correctly, they are going to be within reason and they're going to understand that 40,000. And I may just ask the question, like, how do you feel about that? Do you think that's a realistic number? And most of the time they're going to be like, no, we can tell it was too high. Yeah.
One follow-up question, then we'll ping over to the buyer side. Are you approaching your listing appointment already knowing the number that they have in mind?
I know a range. Okay. So like that 250, I know I'm pulling comps probably from like 225 up to maybe even 300.
No, I mean, knowing the client's desires, like in the pre-listing conversation, whoever's having that, are you saying, do you have a number in mind?
100%.
Okay.
So I know the number. I know there's the Zillow number that they looked at, and I know the questions, like we asked them what they think the house is worth. We have it like, we asked them 3 different ways to make sure that they can't squirm out of it, basically.
Are you trying to pin them down?
I'm trying to get a gauge of what they're thinking.
Okay.
Because I want to know if I'm disappointing them or if they're going to be happy or what the case is.
Before the actual paperwork is signed.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yep. Makes sense. All right, Alyssa, classic one. Interest rates are high right now. I know friends that have mortgages at 3%. We're just going to wait for the rates to come back down.
Yeah, absolutely. I can completely understand where you're coming from. Have you had time to speak with the lender yet about refinancing in a year?
No, I just, it feels like it has to come back down, and I just want to make sure that I'm getting value, and so I just don't want to overpay it right now.
Yeah, I completely get that. Anytime you are lending money though, it does have to go through an appraisal process. So either way, you're never actually going to overpay for a property.
Sure.
Is that something that I can connect you with?
Sure. Yeah, I suppose it doesn't hurt. I don't want to have my credit pulled preemptively. Would that?
No, we can just have a 15-minute phone call. Doesn't mean that you actually have to apply it.
Okay. So that's connecting them to the resource.
And then they normally end up.
Right. Anything to nuance there? Anything else that you have in kind of the interest rate sort of conversation?
Yeah, I mean, it really just kind of depends. I mean, I'm currently operating underneath like a team, so we do have like, lender partners that we use. So we typically are, providing those products. But generally speaking, anytime working with buyers, that's my number one thing. Well, that was last month that I was dealing with. That was my number one objection, was trying to battle the rates. But even as you said today, 3% decrease of people actually applying in the last 30 days or so. So rates don't really matter. It's just kind of something that you have to get over. I find that I have a better time converting them into an actual buyer than a prospect in person. So I always honor showing them one house, regardless of where they are. I think that if you make that first impression and they fall in love with you, then they're going to trust what you say because you're the professional, you're the market expert. So I go over my little spiel of how important it is to, focus on financing, and they need to figure out where exactly they fall. Just because they're pre-approved up to 300 doesn't mean that we need to spend 300. We know how that goes. We don't want anyone to be house poor. So that's kind of, where the lender comes in and they kind of start talking about the rates and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not an expert in rates. Obviously, That's not what I do. I'm really good at helping buyers and sellers. But as long as you as an agent just setting that appointment for that lender, I think can go a really long way. You can fill them in, say, hey, this is the conversation. This is what we talked about. Please touch on these points. Because we're all partners in this. So.
Are you trying to get the buyer to call the lender prior to even meeting them, or is that conversation you wait to in person?
It depends on the conversation, but 80% of the time they just want to see the house. So that's what I honor.
That's a key point that I think a lot of people will like.
Yes.
I know you have to be pre-approved before I show you a house.
Like, how many agents have hung up on them? And they haven't even be willing to meet them at the house. Hey, I took time out of my day. This is what I expect from you. This is what you're going to expect from me. We're going to lock arms and we're going to, do this together. So that's kind of my outlook on the whole thing. Yes. Am I driving around like crazy and maybe only showing them one house and then they ghost us? We all know how that goes. But at the end of the day, I get to build my skills and perfect it. So
the conversation goes a lot better in person than it does over the phone. Right.
Absolutely. They want to trust something. And when you give them something, it's tangible. For some reason, we're reverting back to that where, yes, we have social media and we have links and all this stuff, but people like in-person things. I can't tell you how much I will print out to give to them, and it's like gold to them. They love it, and they'll just like bring their folder back every single time we see them. So it just goes a long way.
Well said. I don't know if this is on our list. There's a version of this, but this is a very common one. We'd love to list our house, Jose. I know that the market's good for sellers, but we don't want to be homeless.
Sure. So going back to my philosophy with options. So here's what I would say is, yeah, Mark, I don't want you to be homeless either. And I definitely don't want you to have to move into my basement. So some humor does go a long way. Like I literally say that like every listing appointment.
So the kids are sitting there rolling their eyes.
So here's the good thing, Mark, is as a seller in today's market, you're in control of a lot of different things. So there's a bunch of different options that we can work as we're kind of working through this process. So a couple of things just to kind of think about as we're moving through the process is one is when we get an offer in, we can ask for like an extended closing or an extended possession time. So really from the time we get a contract, we may, I'm not guaranteeing, but we may be able to get you a whole 60 to 90 days to be able to move out of the house. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds better than moving out the moment of closing. That's still like we haven't found our next house, so that still makes me uncertain.
Sure. Yeah, I get that. So another option, and you know, we have all these tools at your disposal. So when we're working together, we'll make sure that it goes smooth. Another option, and this isn't the most desirable, but it is an option, is to make the offer that we accept subject to you and Claire finding your next house. Right. So that's another option that, you know, as we're going through this process, depending on how things unfold, we have that tool in your arsenal to make sure you're not moving in my basement.
Sure.
So would that make you feel a little
Yeah,
better?
that sounds like that keeps us in the driver's seat
Yeah.
until we find the home of our choice.
Sitting on your side, I understand how you feel. There's a lot of sellers that we talk to that have felt the same way. And typically what they found is through the process, they feel very comfortable after they start looking at houses and they get the ball rolling. They actually see stuff that they like, and it makes them feel a lot better. Yeah.
Just break script for a second. You're encouraging option one more than option two.
I'm encouraging getting the ball going. Because once I know that they're moving in the process, we know that we've done this hundreds of times where we sell and buy at the same time, and we can get them kind of all of the dates figured out.
Right. And your team has MOFers that supports that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think in a very seller tilted market like we're in right now, that makes that second option more palatable. I think the more it moves towards a buyer, the buyers, I'm not going to write while they're shopping for a house.
Right.
I'm not looking to engage in that.
Well, a lot of times when someone's buying and selling, they're moving up. And what I have seen is under 250 is moving like lightning fast. Over 300, not nearly as fast. Have you guys seen that? Yeah. So like I sold 4 this weekend. 2 were under contract with multiple offers and they were below 250. My 2 that were over 3 only had 1 offer on it, and they were on the market for 8 days.
Yeah.
So like, but it does like, so understanding that you're going from a red hot market to like a market that's a little bit cooler and you have a little bit more playroom, like understanding that like is important for them to know too.
Yes, and going in prepared with that, I was talking with another one of our agents, she's not here right now, about like understanding your specific community and price point. You know, he was working to sell a home in a community and it was like, oh, it's been sitting on the market. And I pulled the data on that price point in that community. And I'm like, bro, you're well within average, which, you know, you want to do better than average, but actually understanding what to expect is a big difference. Alyssa, we really want to move. But again, we want a deal and we just don't want to get into a bidding war. Like that just, I'd rather avoid that if we can.
Yeah, I can appreciate where you're coming from. I don't think anyone wants to be in a bidding war. We are still experiencing low inventory, so it is going to be multiple buyers up against other buyers, especially in the price point that we're looking at. So before we go see a property, it's my job to make sure how many offers are currently on the table, when a deadline is, so that way we can be well aware before we even waste our time to go see it, if you're willing to be in competition with other buyers.
Are you having that conversation before they're even asking that question?
Before they're even pre-approved. I mean, in Lorain County, it is a very, very quick market. If I don't get my clients in within 48 hours, it's gone. It is rough. It is just like 2021. I am exhausted, but we're making dreams happen here. So, yeah, just surviving on caffeine. But yes, I am having that conversation at my buyer consultation appointment. Like I said, I meet them at a house that I kind of do everything all in one. I take 30 minutes, even an extra 15 at the end if they bring mom and dad, obviously, if they're first-time home buyers. I'm there explaining the packet, I'm there explaining the market. When I say packet, I mean like they're pre-approval, like this is the process. I have a checklist of like, okay, your first step is to get pre-approved. Your second step is to, you know, find an agent, lock arms with them, and then we can actually start your search. But we're not going to start looking at houses until we figure out how much money we have to spend. And a really good way that I use, well, a good analogy that I use is you're not going to go to the grocery store without your wallet, right? So why would you go look for a house when you don't know how much money you have? So that kind of breaks it down for first-time home buyers, because for some reason they see the pretty pictures and they think that they can afford it. And half the time when they talk with their lender, it's way out of their price point. So yes, I do have that conversation with how quickly the market is moving. And that's why it's extremely important for them to be prepared before we even go to the house. So the first one, obviously, if they fall in love and they want to see it, we're going to do everything that we can, but typically they're not ready. They're just kind of, you know, in that warm fuzzy stage. And then once we start bidding, it gets a little murky, but you know, we coach our clients along the way and teach them, you know, exactly what is going to be needed in order to win in multiples. I'm sure we've all been there over the last, 14 months or so. So yeah, it's a process, but I try and deliver all of the messages up front so they know what to expect from me. They know what to expect out of the market.
Yeah.
They're not going to be surprised if they see a house on Zillow, and it's gone within 9 hours. I mean, we try everything that we can to keep them off Zillow, but we all know that they're going to be on Zillow. So that's just one thing that
You're getting into their firewall,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, me and Ray,
It's down. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. But I think the point there, too many of us, let's just see houses and see how it goes along the way. And I think it doesn't need to be go to meet at the office, but a good buyer's consultation where you're proactively engaging with what are we seeing in the market? What does this mean for when we're writing an offer? What does this mean from a financing standpoint? Enables you to, in the future, then refer back to, hey,
exactly.
we talked about it, or in the packet that you're carrying around. A lot to be said there. All right, Jose. I have overbuilt my home. I've invested $80,000. I got this awesome gazebo out back, and we finished out the basement. But I want to get that value. The average sale price is $250 in this neighborhood, and I think I should get $330 because of what we've done to the house. Can we list it for $330?
So I would ask a bunch of questions in that situation. Some would be like, I want to know why they're moving. And so my thought on something like that is if you're wanting to test the market, I'm probably not going to take a 330 if it's supposed to be 250. If you got your U-Haul and you're packed up and you're moving to Florida, I'm not going to fight as much because you're desperate. Well, you're not desperate. You're motivated to sell, and I'm going to take the listing and we're going to get it down to the right price point. But with that being said, I would talk to them. I'd say, Mark, I completely understand that. I hear that all the time with sellers. I put all this money into it and I'm just not going to get it back. I think the important thing that I've realized over the years is that the average dollar that you put into a house, you actually end up getting about 50 cents back when it comes to home remodels and home updates. And I know that's frustrating, but the positive is that you and Claire have enjoyed it over the last 3, 4, 5 years, whatever the case is. And so that's the conversation I would have is you only get 50. And that's not a made up number. That's a NAR number. They do a research every year, but the average is about 50 cents on the dollar for what you're putting in. So I would just kind of explain that to them and then see where they sit. Yeah.
To just build upon that, there's also a resource that talks about basically the most dollar productive improvements. If you're having we're hoping to list next year conversation, NAR has a resource as well. Hey, the bathroom, the curb appeal, there's more bang for your buck, and that's a different conversation. I want to hit one more and get us moving. Jose, I know it's a hot market. I know our house is going to sell quickly. I respect what you do, but I also don't think it's going to be all that hard to sell a house right now. Would you take a 5% commission?
Yeah, that's a great question. Every time they ask a question, that's a great question. Because it actually just buys me time to think about my answer. So that's just a bit of a staller, and it kind of strokes their ego too. So
thank you.
I'm so smart. So what was the question again? I forgot.
This buys a little more time. 5%. Will you reduce your commission? You offered to list it for 6. Would you do 5?
Yeah, I think something that you said there was very true. Is the reality is, Mark, you don't need a real estate agent right now to sell your house. You could probably just put it out there, and you're probably going to get an offer, and you can sell it. I think what you really want, though, based on what we talked about, is get the most out of your house. Right.
Sure.
And so I was just at a property 3 weeks ago, and they had 3 realtors in, and I was the 3rd one, and we listed it at my price, which was actually $19,000 more than the other agents, and we got that price in the first weekend. So it's not about selling your house in today's market. It's about, can I maximize? Does that agent that I hire have the tools to maximize the house value that I'm getting out of it, not just can I get it to close, right? So would you agree it's about getting the most out of your house?
Absolutely.
Sign here.
So you didn't even answer the question about the 5 year. Right. Like for me, I'm not the one up there on the platform right now, but like when I do my net sheet, I automatically put in the 6%. So they already know what the commissions are. We don't even really have that conversation. And then it's signed off on, initialed, and here we go.
Yeah.
At the net, you know, that once I come in and figure out the price of the house, whatever. And that's always a win for me.
Makes it less of a decision.
Less of a negotiation. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, Linda.
So I go way back to school.
Yeah.
And the listing of the women in 7%. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. I know what the realities are, but why are you starting to say?
I didn't say I started at 6.
Okay.
But yes, that's another way is, you know, we're at 7 and you cross it out and make it into 6.
Expects me to get.
Right.
This is what I can do for you.
Right. Yeah, that's an easy approach too.
Yeah.
The other approach I like to do actually is I will write down my commission. My commission's 3%. What do you want to pay the buyer agent? Right. And that may be more compliant with what Rich is talking about with the class action, but like mine's this, that's not negotiable. What do we want to pay the buyer agent? And if they start to go cheap, then I will get out the MLS and say like, well, here's what the other listings go for. And this is kind of what the norm is, but what are your thoughts? But my 3% is typically protected. Makes sense? Yeah.
Yes, Sadie.
I actually heard something wonderful from Eli in our office. I was talking to him about that, and he said the most amazing thing. I was like, oh, I like that. So if they say that to you about the 5%, you would say, I understand that like everybody likes to save money. I like saving money too, but if I can't even negotiate for myself on the commission, what do you think is going to happen when I negotiate for the sale price of your home? And then they're like, oh, you know,
and then be silent.
Yeah.
Should we give a hand to our chumps? Thank you both. Well played. Gina, come on up. Let's build upon it.
Yeah. Well, a couple of things. I wanted to talk about the scripting since that's what we were doing today. And in mentioning that, who in the room feels comfortable scripting and regularly script? Only a few people raise their hand. So does that mean the rest of you don't? So let's see who doesn't feel comfortable scripting.
Thank you, Maria.
And doesn't do it often. Still no one raised their hand. In any case, let me first say every other Friday, our coaching group scripts on Zoom for 1 hour from 10 to 11. So anyone that wants to join this week, please let me know. It's this Friday. We do it every other Friday. But what I want to say about that is a couple of things. So and people ask me this all the time about scripting, is how does it not come across sounding aggressive or pushy or sounding like a script? And a couple of things I'll say about that is depending on what the question is or the situation, pause and listen to the question. I always go back to Jose telling me constantly, the gift of silence. I think there's a book called that he's been trying to give me for years. As he says, he pauses and he's comfortable with awkward silence. I am not, so I have to train myself to be. So then just being quiet and listening to what they're saying, for one, to give them a minute to think, but also to give you a minute to decide how to respond. And then you can be thinking. If you don't practice scripting, you don't have the bank of information to dig into. It's not about, we just talked about this today, I was scripting with the Mucci team. It's not about memorizing the paragraph on the page.
Right.
That's what we all think scripting means.
Right.
If I haven't memorized the paragraph, then I don't know what to say. It's about reading the paragraph and practicing the paragraph so I have confidence so I can dig into my own words to know what to say.
Absolutely.
So first, listening to the question or the objection or situation and understanding, and then I even repeat it back to them. So, Caitlin, what I'm hearing you say is this. So this way you can get them thinking, is that what I meant, for one, and also so that you have clarity about what they are saying, and then move on to whatever it is, that bank of information that you have. And then I love to jump into the telling examples and telling stories. So when you're trying to convince somebody about how important it is to get pre-approved, you can add this. You know, I had a buyer last weekend who went to an open house on Sunday and they were not pre-approved. This is truly a true story of a buyer of mine. And what happened? It was Sunday at 3 o'clock when they called and said, I went to open house and we had to hurry up and get them to Jessica quickly to get pre-approved because, you know, now we have to make an offer and multiple offers. And luckily for her, we got it in quick enough, but we almost lost the house because she wasn't pre-approved. I'm now using that story repeatedly to my buyers who have objections, not that I work with a lot of buyers, that they can understand that. So one, listening to what they're saying, taking a moment to absorb it and know how to respond, but also because you're practicing the scripts, you don't have to worry about memorizing the paragraph. That's what sounds like scripting, guys. When people say to me, and you all do, I don't want to practice scripting because I don't want it to sound scripty. Well, when you practice scripting, it doesn't sound scripty because then you dig into your own personal, you know, sentences that you're regurgitating out to them. So I would love to see you guys. Anyone can join. We can share the Zoom link. It's only on Zoom every other week. And I don't remember what the topic is this week, but we tend to have a topic. And then we roll into what situations do you guys have going on? And then we'll script it out. And quite honestly, I love the let's just make up the script as we go kind of thing based on your scenarios. So
because that builds the muscle. I think all too often it's like, oh, great, you've got a list of scripts. That person never becomes a script master because they're thinking the words will save them. It's like, no, it's about your muscle. It's not about the actual words.
That's right.
So get into the practice.
And it makes you feel confident because then you know you're not going to be put on the spot and know what to say.
Right.
What not to say, I guess. So, all right.
Awesome. Thanks, Tina. Appreciate you. Mr. Kevin, our good friend Kevin from Cutco. How's it going?
It is fantastic, cutting edge. Actually, that was a perfect segue because I have a gift for all of you guys, and I have a gift script for anybody who wants it. One way you can get it is scan this QR code. So there's actually 3 reasons you want to scan this QR code. One is I do a monthly drawing for Cutco. If you scan this, enter your information, I will put you in the drawing, and you may win a piece of Cutco. All right. The second reason is that it will let me know if you have interest in what we do after I tell you about what I do. And then the third reason is that I'm going to email out a gift script. I actually planned this ahead of time, but Gina and I didn't talk about it. It was just perfect. So when you give, and then the reason I'm doing that is because a lot of you already know what I do. Raise your hand if you know who I am, you know what I do. All right, almost everybody in the room. I help agents and business owners give gifts that are going to impact the relationship with their clients long-term. And raise your hand if you've used a knife in the last 7 days. All right. Everybody uses knives. They use them all the time. You want to find a gift that is easy to give, that's going to be something that gets used all the time, and something that is a system in place so you don't have to worry about going shopping for clients every single time you have a closing. When your business takes off the way Alyssa was describing from 2021 to now, it's not, she doesn't have a lot of time to run around and put together gift baskets and things like that. She needs to have a system in place. And so that's what you do. What I do is with Cutco, we take the product and we engrave it with your logo, name, and phone number. I'm going to pass around a few samples here. Please don't touch the edges. These are sharp, I promise. And I didn't bring any Band-Aids. So don't be the bleeder. But Cutco's been around.
Everybody likes the bleeder.
Cutco's been around since 1949. It's guaranteed forever. It's like the Snap-on tools of kitchen knives. And it fits into most agents' gift price point pretty well. The 3 things it does for you is it creates top of mind awareness because it gets used every day. Second thing it does is you can write it off as advertising because you've engraved it and you treat it as a promotional product instead of a gift. You can only take $25 for a gift, but for advertising, you can write off the full amount. And then the third thing is, again, you have a system in place. There's no expiration date on these. You know, you can have a stack of these next to your desk. And when you have a closing, you grab one and go. It comes with a bow. And when you run low, you just let me know. All right. So you remember? We even have smaller gifts too. If you want to do some thank you gifts for people, you know, not paying for referrals, Rich. But you know, thanking people for supporting your business, that kind of thing. Feel free to pass those around. And here's the gifts. So whether you use Cutco or not, if you find a gift that's going to get used every day, that you can brand tastefully and that you have on hand so you can grab them and go, then you can use this script. Okay, now I'm gonna say Cutco, but if you have another gift that's similar, you can use it. So the gift script goes like this. You want to do three things. Build value in the gift, build value in your relationship, and let them know that you are looking forward to doing business with them again. Okay, so with Cutco, I would say, you know what? Thank you so much, Amanda, for trusting me with your business. You know, with the sale of your home, I know there's a lot of options out there when it comes to real estate, and I appreciate that you chose me. And I wanted to get you a gift, and I could have gotten you a lot of things, maybe a gift card from Home Depot or a bottle of wine to celebrate. But those things are here today and gone tomorrow, and that's not the impression that I wanted to leave you with. So I got you this Cutco gift. Now this is guaranteed forever. This is going to be around for the rest of your life, and it would even be around for the kids because the guarantee follows the product. And what's great is that just like this is going to be here for all your cooking needs, I'll be right at your fingertips for all your real estate needs. And I look forward to helping you build a whole set in the future through future transactions. Ooh. So thank you again, and here you go. I hope it brings you years of joy. So if you want to have that script in a PDF format, just go ahead and scan the QR code. You'll get entered in, fill out the form. You'll get entered into the drawing. You'll get the gift script. And I'll send you more information about our gifting program. We can set up a time to either meet over Zoom or in person and show you how we're doing it. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you having me.
Culture folks, Scott, Aaron, both, either or. Yeah. We're rounding third, folks. Hang with us.
Let's go to the next.
Okay. All right.
Hey, Red Day. Who here has never been to a Red Day? Hey, are y'all coming this year?
Yeah.
Tell me about it. Why would I?
Nick, everybody get on Nick. He needs to come this year. So Red Day is a day where we volunteer. We want to be giving back to our community, the communities that we live in and things. So Mansfield, they are they have a special day plan where they're going to be doing like landscaping at the care center.
Worcester.
No, is it
yep.
wrong?
Yeah.
Did it change?
Or Worcester.
I'm sorry, I got the city wrong.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what we're
Worcester's Mansfield is doing.
They're doing landscaping and a children reading donation day.
Yes. And so what are we doing here out of this center? I'll let Aaron talk about the first one. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So for two locations, one of them being Whispering Grace's Horse Farm in Massillon. They kind of have a, it's almost like an emotional support. It's a Christian-based for nonprofit that they run. It's one of the largest in Ohio.
Our very own Kim Laser is on the board. I think Kim's here.
I think she bounced out.
Oh, she just left. Thanks, Kim.
It's just here.
We walked up with you.
Yeah.
You know, things we can do for them, because they're always constantly giving out to the community and helping people in. I think it's good for us to get in contact with them. Things we can do there, it's going to be from 9 a.m. to about 1. Depends if we finish up earlier or not. It's kind of be like, all right, get your boots on, get long sleeves, jeans, bring your cowboy hat kind of deal. And we'll be able to, you know, help them clean out basically around the barns, weed eating, all that good stuff, all the super fun stuff around the farm, right? Could include cleaning out a stall, right? But yeah, we're going to be getting dirty. And we can have about 40 people there too. So
awesome.
Yeah, and I think some people might look at that and say that's a lot of hard work. I'm not sure I signed up for this. It's a day. Let's give back and let's
a half day. Let's
be gracious in doing that because they do a lot. They do a lot for veterans. They do a lot for kids who had trauma and stuff. So that's one group. Then those who like the fuzzy furry animals, cats and dogs, we are going to start County Humane Society. And we are going to be in, I think Amanda's already sent some of this out, but 2-hour increments, 12 people in those that are going to help walk dogs, maybe play with the cats, maybe build some treats that are
walk the cats.
Encouraging for them. And there's also going to be an adoption day, and Jay is going to be kind of overseeing that part of things. That there's things that we can't do legally that they have to, as far as like filling out forms that deal with liability, some of those things, and we will also have to sign some of that because these are dogs that they've had for a while. We will not be with any dogs that are new, that they haven't had the time to go through. Do they get along with humans?
Do they get along with other cats or dogs? Those sort of things. We won't be handling those. There are some that are just for the workers there, but it's a great opportunity to come out and with the adoption day, you may go home with a couple dogs or cats. But we encourage you to sign up for those. We have 36 slots for that. So if that's really important to you, you want to sign up quickly. There's going to be lunch boxes at both locations, and look forward to it. It is, yeah. So for the adoption day, it's half the normal cost for adopting. So if you're thinking about adopting this week, wait. And this would be the Thursday before Mother's Day.
May 11th.
Yes.
There you go. Get mom a dog for Mother's Day. She'll love it.
Get your t-shirts ordered. They're really awesome this year. I think you have long sleeve options too.
Long sleeve, short sleeve hoodies.
And hoodies. Those of you, let's hope it's 80 and you're in here.
Yeah.
But, sign up.
Awesome. Yeah, we've got groups working in Worcester, Ashland, Mansfield, Lexington, and then 2 in the Canton, Massillon area. So we'll be everywhere, but please really do commit a few hours, commit your morning. It's a fun day for us to be able to serve together. And I know you and others have put in a lot of work to put it together. So May 11th. Awesome. We're almost there. Jamie, you want to come up? Let's welcome Jamie from Essential Leverage.
Thank you.
Of course.
This is Jamie. Nice to meet y'all. Got an email last week or the week before about Jamie's involvement with Essential Leverage transaction coordination. And she's just here to kind of meet you all and tell you a little bit about her services.
Okay, so I'm going to be handling the three market centers here. So if you have a desire for contract to close, what I will do is take it from accept a contract to post close. So that is all comprehensive. It really will take that whole process off your plate. I'll keep you in the loop. Obviously, you'll still be there, and I make the clients very aware of that. Like, we're teaming up with this. Your agent will always be available should you need them. There's a million things, as you all know, that happen between contract to close. So, and I'll do all of them. Anything you know, communicate with you, whatever works best. I will have your all your system logins so I can handle everything in commands, everything in .loop. So that's kind of the first step when I engage with you, is just kind of getting to know you, which I'll be at meetings and stuff, and then how you would prefer me to communicate with you and your client, get all of those logins that I need. So when you do, you know, if you know that you're going to engage in this, reach out now and I'll get everything I need from you set up. So like, it's a Saturday contract and we can just rock it, you know, right off the rip. So do you want them to use the orders okay, just for general back and forth, like if they're
at least to start the transaction? Yeah.
Okay, so they've set up the orders,
ELTC, Essential Leverage Transaction Coordination @gmail.com.
There we go.
And we'll include if you want to reach out to me prior to is my cell phone number in there?
No, but we're going to be sending out an email communication with the flyer of all the services and the costs, all the
right. Perfect. And then once the order comes in, we'll like transition to everything that I have set up, like my email. So clients, lenders, everyone, you know, gets the personal feeling and touch. So we'll send out, can we send out my email? Just if anyone wants to get started and get everything set up, we'll do that. I mean, my goal is to literally take everything off your plate so you can focus on engaging with clients and getting more listings and contracts. So that's the, you know, we'll all become fast friends because we'll talk quite a bit. But I love this. I've been doing this for a lot of years.
Awesome.
A lot, yeah. But I will tell you, this is a new market for me. I ran a Cincinnati market for Keller Williams in all but I've done every piece of real estate from pre-listing, listing. So I have a really good handle on what's all happened up until now. You'll give me a little insight on your clients, and you know, they all have like their little things. So I want to make sure that I know that, and they feel really comfortable with us as a team. So
awesome.
It's a very personal touch, and
Very.
Jamie will be here for lunch. In the morning.
Yeah.
So if they don't want to do command commissions, that's your.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Just go to Jamie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I will get all the docs in there. If you have a listing also, I'll put the in at the same time if you haven't done so. It just takes the compliance docs. It just takes one more thing off your plate. And you can let me know ahead of time on that, because I know accepted contracts are coming quickly. So I can do that in advance. But what I was going to say, the last thing I'll say, because I know we're running late, is this is the new market for me. So if you could bear with me just a little bit on the front end, I've done all my research I need on documents. And so I'll need your preferred contacts, you know, your lenders, your appraisers, or not your appraisers, I'm sorry, inspection companies. And then once I guess my point is a little bit more high maintenance on the very front end, but once I have it all, I can just kind of roll from there.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Awesome.
Thank you.
Go eat some food, talk to someone that you've not met before.
Next week, Mark,
What's happening next week?
we're painting.
A lot of things. Yes, we're painting next week. So be mindful of common spaces. Don't smudge your fingers. If you want to smudge your fingers, this is the week to do it. Because we're going to get some paint that's going to be more conducive to that.
And then keep your hands off the wall.
Keep your grubby paws off the walls. Go eat some food, talk to someone you've not yet met. Thank you all.
Thank you.